before I show you this next item, a little bit of a backstory. It must have been 96, 97, possibly even later than that, 98 even. And I was in a store called PC World, which is here in the UK, all over pretty much. It's like a major computer store. And they had this item there, a Commodore 64. But not the Commodore 64 that we know and love, not the new style Commodore 64C. It wasn't the old bottlenose one, it was a completely different beast. This was half Commodore 64, half PC. At the time, a Commodore 64 original one you could probably pick up for maybe £5, £10, very cheap. I mean, to be fair, even now today you can still buy them for them kind of money. Normal PC at that time would have probably cost you might have got away with $599, possibly around $699 would buy you something fairly decent for a home user. Anyway, in this PC world, they had a big stack of these Commodore 64s, and they were a Commodore 64 stroke PC, and they were £225 from memory. And I thought, that looks fantastic, but I'm going to wait a couple of months for it to go on sale and buy one. And of course, I went back there, they just completely disappeared, never to be seen again. So a couple of months ago, I'm looking on eBay, and what I tend to do is just type in generic terms like Commodore, and I found it again. So here it is. This is the Commodore that I saw all them years ago. A Commodore 64. And as you can see, it is not your usual Commodore 64. This in fact is a Commodore Web.IT, and it's made by Tulip Computers. Basically they bought up the license to use a Commodore name, and this is what they produced with it. The guy I bought it from, as luck would have it, also managed to find the manuals for it as well. So I've got that manual, got the guarantee card for it, I've got the Web.IT user's guide, and I've got using Lotus applications. So as I say, what you're looking at here is just pretty much the base unit, and the idea of it is, if I turn it around, you can see you've got like a MIDI port, but obviously they've called it a joystick port, a printer port, serial port, a telephone line, modem rather, so that you can plug it into the internet. Then you have your usual microphone, audio in, audio out, S-video output, just a common composite output, and a monitor output, and then obviously your power. So on the side as well, then you've got see if I can get that better in a bit more light. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see, you've got a standard 3.5-inch floppy drive, and this thing here you would think would be a little touchpad like a mouse pad, but oh no, if I go up here, as you can see, you've got a stylus. Unfortunately, the guy I bought it from didn't have a power supply for it, and it is quite an odd. I might turn it around this way. Oh, as you can see, a bit fell off. I'll get to that in a minute. So that's it, a Web.IT. See, 5 volts, 2 amps, which is an odd amount to have. But luckily enough, I found one. I found a power supply for it, and 2 amps, 5 volts. Right, but as you can probably tell from when I was moving it around, this just fell out of the side of it, which covers some kind of expansion port there. In fact, that looks like PC card slots, which I think it is, and I can confirm that in the manual. I think that's what it does have, a couple of PC. But if you notice there, look, this thing has been opened at some point, so I haven't put any power on it yet, because what I want to do now is open it up so you guys can have a look inside as well, and then we'll try powering it up and see what actually happens. From memory, I can't remember if this uses, I don't think it's DOS, I think this is using something like Windows 3.1, a modified versions of Windows 3.1, and as I say, it's got all these various applications in here. If I flick through, oh look, we've got a nice little display here of everything. So yeah, PC card connector, pen, floppy drive, pen pad, left mouse button, right mouse button. I don't think it actually says what system it's using, but from memory. And of course the main thing about it is this one, F8, starting an emulator to play Commodore 64 games, because that was the real main selling point of this thing, was the fact that you could use it as a day-to-day PC for all your internet activity, but you could also use the emulator to play Commodore 64 games. And I'm guessing at some point they had something whereby you could you know, download some Commodore 64 games, because this was still in the fairly early days of the internet, 97, 98. Oh, there we go. Copyright 1998. So 1998 was when I must have seen it. Okay, so if we have a look at these instructions. So we've got Lotus 123, AMI Pro, Organizer. So very basic software, but again, the whole idea of this thing was to basically be a functional, basically a functional PC with internet activity, and the added little bonus was the fact that you could play Commodore 64 games on it. Right, that's enough talking. Let's get a screwdriver and take the top off of this thing. Now, the first thing I've noticed is, unlike most systems, there doesn't seem to be any screw holes. I'm guessing there is a screw, there is a screw, and probably, again, what's really annoying, obviously to stop people invalidating the warranty, they usually put one of the screws under this label, but I can't feel anything, and I can't feel anything under there, so let's take them off and see what happens. Okay, it's official, this thing's held together by magic, because I've just taken that little piece off. Again, I'll just quickly show you a little trick for these things as well. Let's stick it down there. Get a set of these jeweler's screwdrivers, fantastic little things, and what you do is you just kind of push it down and ease it up. Obviously this one's going to come off easy now because I've just got it off, but they are the best things to try and get these little rubbers off. Again, just be careful not to scratch all your system up when you do it. Okay, so after much tinkering, I've worked out the solution. Similar thing for older laptops. What you do, you get this little screwdriver here, you force it down, and then you reveal these little tabs here. So once I work my way along, I can remove the keyboard, and voila. And then what we've got here is another warranty void if still broken. So there's the two screws holding the case together. Originally I tried going around the outer edge thinking that it was just compression fitted together, but it's not. So I would have just completely ruined the side of the case if I hadn't come up with this method. So again, that's the reason for this video. It's just if you have one of these units and you need to open it, we're going to work out how to do it. I don't think you can see down there. I'll try to see it. There's a little crosshead screw. So two crosshead screws. So we'll take them off and we'll get the cover off this thing.